Welcome, boys and girls, to my top 30 Ballon d'Or ranking. We all know what happened yesterday. Yesterday was an absolute disgrace, an absolute scandal. But today is the good day. Today, I am here to show everyone what the top 30 should have looked like. And I'm the man for the job. I'm the man with no bias, with no narratives, with no agendas. I'm going to be the perfect person to give you the top 30. We all know what happened yesterday. Top 30 yesterday looked like this, and look at this. Look at this. So many wrong decisions, so many... I'm looking at so many players and so many rankings, whether you should go higher or lower. It's just bad. It's just bad. But trust me. When you look at my top 30, you will look at it by the end of this video and say to yourself, Faisal, Fayz, you know what? You should have been a journalist. You should have been part of this. You should have had the final vote and the final say on what the top 30 should have looked like. Trust me. I'm hoping so. Trust me. Before we get to those top 30, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to this second channel of mine. Just to go for this one and get to 20K, you know what I mean? And of course, comment. Let me know whether you agree or disagree. Don't tell me, oh, this is bad. I already know this is bad because look at this. This is bad. Just tell me whether you agree or disagree with some or all of my selection. Listen, no more yapping, no more waffling. Let's go straight into it. My top 30 is this Donny, Denzel Dumfries, who finished 25th. He should be 30th. Let's be real. Let's be very, very real. I'm not putting someone in here who really and truly had 2 games and 2 games only. And that was the game against Barcelona. This is Barcelona tax. Because if you put Denzel Dumfries in this list, you are basically telling me he was the second best right back in the world last season. And I can say for certain, no, he wasn't. Koundé was better than him. Trent was better than him. Timber was better than him. I can go on and on and on. This guy was not the second best right back in the world. But because of 2 goals, because of 2 great performances, because of he went demon mode against Barcelona. When he sees Barcelona, he smiles. He saw Barcelona. He scored couple goals with both legs. And boom, all of a sudden, he's in top 30. Disgusting. He should be the last man. The 30th. In 29, we've got Mr. Declan Rice, who once again was only here really and truly for 2 free kicks. If Declan Rice did not score those 2 free kicks against Real Madrid, do you think he will be in top 30? Do you think he will be there? No, he wouldn't. Again, I'm not taking anything away from Declan Rice. Last season with Arsenal, he was very good. But I can say, where's Gabriel? Where's Gabriel in top 30 last season? Yes, Bukayo Saka got injured at the early part and they missed him, but you're telling me Declan Rice was Arsenal's best player last season? Hell no. Because of 2 free kicks he's here. Let's be real. Arsenal fans are going to say, well, you don't watch Arsenal. I do watch Arsenal. And if I had to pick an Arsenal player, Gabriel would be in here. But Gabriel's not here. So Declan Rice should not be here. 2 free kicks. That's all I'm saying. Moving on to number 28th. If Florian works, his ranking was 29th. All right, ranking. Last season, he had the goals. He missed, of course, the crucial moments, the Champions League where Leverkusen got knocked out against Bayern in the round of 16, but it wasn't the performance or the standout that he did 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I understand why he was top 10, I think. But right here, last season, Leverkusen wasn't the best. 28th is the perfect and fairest ranking. 27th is this man right here, Lautaro Martinez, who finished 20th. But Lautaro Martinez wasn't Inter's best striker last season. He was the second. Marcus Thuram was better than him. But once again, the big games, 2 games against Bayern and Barcelona, he was there. And by the way, finally he scored in the Champions League. Finally he scored because before last season, this Donny was on a drought in the Champions League knockout stage. Finally he was there. Finally stepped up and saved Inter in the Bayern games. But other than that, Marcus Thuram was the better player. Marcus Thuram finished on more goals. Marcus Thuram finished on more assists. It was more Marcus. Other than that, Lautaro only had those 4 games against Bayern, both back-to-back, and Barca back-to-back. Other than that, it was nothing else. So if you're going to have Lautaro, where's Marcus Thuram? Again, makes no sense. He finished 20th. He should be 27th. Moving on, that's Erling Haaland, who could have finished higher. But the City last season wasn't City. He was out a couple of games with an injury. He missed the most important game Well, they say he missed. He was healthy. He was on the bench. Didn't play. But they say he missed the most important game against Madrid in the playoff where we beat them 3-0. Mbappe scored 3 goals. He was on the bench. Didn't play. They said he was injured. I mean, you were on the bench. Why didn't you come on? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But for Haaland, his ranking was 26. It's the fairest ranking. Jude Bellingham finished 23. It could have been 25. With Jude, I blame Carlo Ancelotti for this. Jude should have finished way higher, but Jude Bellingham last season was a victim of his own versatility, of his own ability, of his own success. He is so good that Carlo Ancelotti last season took advantage of him with a lack of system and played him in different positions. He didn't play him as the advanced 10. He didn't play him as the advanced 8. He didn't play him in any of those positions. He played him as a right back, as a left back, was doing cover duties as a centre back. Lucas Vazquez had a higher average position than Jude Bellingham. I feel sorry for Jude Bellingham because he was so he was taken advantage of. And last season he played with an injury. I feel like 25th is the fairest ranking, even though his best game came, ironically enough, for me, his best game was against Atalanta, and that was literally in August. So how can you play? He played so well against Atalanta. That Super Cup, we want to know. Played so well. Why does Carlo Ancelotti look at him and say, you know what, I'm not going to play him there no more. I'm going to play him in different positions. Disgusting. But Jude, 25th. Moving on is Cole Palmer. Come to the stage. Come to the stage, brother. Come to the stage. His actual ranking was 8. He should be 24th. Let me ask you guys an honest question, and please answer me. Chelsea fans, answer me honestly, and neutral and other fans, answer me honestly. If Cole Palmer did not do what he did against Paris Saint-Germain in the Club World Cup final, if Paris Saint-Germain had won that game 1-0, 2-0, 3-1, would Cole Palmer be in top 10? No, he wouldn't. Would Cole Palmer be in 15th? No, he wouldn't. Top 20? No, he wouldn't. Cole Palmer had a better season 2 years ago, but finished way lower than the seasons had last season, but he finished 8th. Again, it was because of one game and one game only. Cole Palmer started the season very well. And we'll get to another player who started the season very well, but more eyes is on that player than Cole Palmer. Everyone is looking at that individual, which plays for my team, and say, why is he there? But Cole Palmer is the same exact boat. Start the season very well, but from January and onwards, where was he? What did he do? What did he do? What did Cole Palmer do from January onwards? For 4 months, he had 1 goal, and that was a penalty. This guy was non-existent for Chelsea. Non-existent for Chelsea. Don't tell me about the club, about the Conference League. Brother, they played some Swedish teams from Norwegian. I don't care about the Club World Cup. I don't care about the club. Sorry, about the Conference League. He didn't even do well. He didn't even score goals in the Conference League. And in the Club World Cup, 2 games, semi-final, final, played well, and all of a sudden he's top 8. Absolute disgusting. That was, for me, one of the... If I had to pick 5 bad rankings, this is one of them. How he finished top 10, how he managed to creep into the top 10 is disgusting. This guy should be minimum 25th, 24th. The only reason why I've got him above Jude is because of he's got more GAs. More GAs. And he actually had a great stretch. Start of the season, he was unplayable. After that, where was he? Where was he? Wow. Number 23, I've got Mr. Guirassy. He finished 21st. He's there, scored a lot of goals in the Bundesliga, was the top scorer of course, the Champions League, scored a hat against Barcelona in the round of 16. I think when they built Lille, he didn't score, he assisted. The Club World Cup scored a couple of goals, but it was against lower teams. I think he scored against Madrid as well, to be fair, but they lost that game. Guirassy is there for the goals. I think 23. 23, 22 is the fairest ranking. But for me, 22 is someone else who scored more goals than him. Like Victor finished 15th. With all due respect, you're not a top 15 player last season. Shout out all the goals that you scored. You scored a lot of goals in the Portuguese league. But I'm not, brother, the Portuguese tax. The Portuguese league tax, bro. I'm not giving you credit for you scoring 4 goals against Rio Ave, or 5 goals against Belenense, or 3 goals against random Chin Chavez in Portugal. With all due respect, brother. With all due respect. Fair play to you. You scored a lot of goals. The only reason why I got you above Guirassy is because you got more goals than Guirassy. And again, you got 50 goals last season, I think. Plus 50 goals. But the league and Champions League, yes, early part you scored. City hat-trick. After that, you went missing. you went missing. When Sporting tried to get to those positions and higher positions in the Champions League phase, you went missing. All I'm saying, 22 is a fairest ranking, especially it's fair. 21 is Alexis. He finished 22, 21st. It's kind of the same. Alexis, important last season. That's why I've got him above Cole Palmer, for example. Like he's got more impact, more influence in that Liverpool team. Was very vital. For me, I had him above Gravenberch in terms of impact, in terms of the best midfielder and the most important midfielder. So I feel like him being the Ballon d'Or is a great credit to him because he deserves it. I've seen some people say, well, why is Gravenberch not there? I think Alexis, out of the two last season, Alexis deserved it more. This season so far, I think, by the way, I'll get to more players. A lot of people are looking at this season and they're making a judgment of the player about this season, but this season means nothing about last season. Like this season is in terms of Ballon d'Or next year. A lot of people confusing someone start this season and they say to themselves, wait, why is he not higher? Brother, just because he's having a great season so far. Last season was last season. This season is the next Ballon d'Or. Just giving you an idea, like Gravenberch so far this season has been a better player, but Alexis last season for me was the more better player, more important. 20th is Fabio Ruiz. I think he should have been higher. I think he should be top 20. Like Fabio Ruiz should be top 20. He was important in Paris Saint-Germain's midfield. He was, for me, out of the three midfielders, he was the third, I would say. I mean, that's the reason why I've got two ranked higher than him. But he was there, important, picked up crucial goals. Top 20 is fair. He finished 24th. Top 20 seems fair. 19th of Lewa. Before anyone gets to me, yes, I've got Vinny higher. Before anyone even dares to tell me about this, Vinny and Lewa are actually very similar. And let me tell you why. Let's not forget that a lot of Barcelona fans last season, and I could see it. I covered Barcelona a lot last season. A lot of Barcelona fans was asking him to be benched. This guy went on a stretch. He started the season very well. There was a stretch towards the end of the year and beginning of 2000 this year. This Donny went on a stretch where every Barcelona fan was asking him to be benched. Where Barcelona was saying, why is he here? Why is he part of this team? Okay? So let's not forget that. Yes, he scored goals, but Vinny got more GAs than Lewa. If you guys want to talk about GAs, let me talk about Lewa and Vinny, because yesterday, a lot of people were saying, why is Vinny higher than Lewa? I'm going to give you a reason why. In terms of GAs, which a lot of you care about, he's got higher than GAs. In terms of stretches, Lewa started the season very well. So did Vinny. Vinny actually gave you 4 months. 5 months, really. From August, September, October, November, December, Vinny was incredible. Vinny was our best player. Vinny was among one of the best players in the world. That 5 months, people seem to forget. You know what makes it funny to me is that people, when they talk about Vinny last season, you can't talk about last season. You should only be talking about 2025, because Vinny, for 5 months to start the season, he was one of the best players in the world. He was on a sensational form. You know when he said 10 times better? He was playing like 10 times better. Dortmund, Milan, Atalanta, the hat-trick in La Liga. This guy was on a carry job. This guy was our best player. When Mbappe was missing chances and was playing bad. When Jude Bellingham was playing across different positions and not his main position. Brother, Vinny was our only hope. We had to drag him from an injury. When he missed Liverpool, when he missed Bilbao, we had to drag him from an injury because we wanted us to go through in the Champions League against Atalanta. He came back, 50% he scored. Salzburg, the following game, scored 2 goals. This guy was so vital for Real Madrid. 2025, I can admit, he was very bad. But let's not admit that this guy was any better, fam. This guy was being asked to be on the bench. Barcelona, when they beat Real Madrid in the Copa del Rey final, he wasn't there. When they beat us in the league, he wasn't there. Against Inter Milan, he wasn't there. It's not like against the round before. Brother, this guy just had the goals in the early part, in the most stat pattern. He was stat pattern. He was stat pattern. But for you to tell me he should be higher than Vinny, for what? For what? What impact did he have that Vinny didn't have last season? They both had similar. He actually had a bigger stretch. He had a bigger stretch. Don't give me that nonsense, bro. In terms of what. By the way, let's not act like they're both are top 10. Neither of them are top 10 deserving players. But Vinny should be lower than Lewa. It shouldn't. You guys just have that myth about Vinny. Vinny last season was bad. It wasn't last season. Stop twisting it. It was only 2025. Because Vinny, from September to October to November to December, was our best player, was one of the best players in the whole world. And no one could deny it. 2025 is when he became bad. And trust me, Doué isn't any higher, by the way. I'm looking at Doué, by the way, and he's very fortunate he finished 14th. He's very fortunate he's finishing amongst the higher position. This guy wasn't even a Paris Saint-Germain starter. This guy wasn't even a star for Paris Saint-Germain for the first 5 months. This guy only became a star towards the end. At start of the season, Dembele was playing on the right. On the left, it was Barcola. As a striker, it was a rotation. Everyone would play as a striker. When Enrique found his best three and making Dembele into a striker, and when they signed Kvara, initially it was again Barcola, Kivica, Dembele. Doué only got into the starting 11 and became a guaranteed, undisputed starter towards the end, from March onwards, fam. Like, we're making Doué seem like the greatest talent. Brother, the guy was a bench warmer for the first 4 or 5 months. Let's not do this. I feel like we are very selected with our games. This is a seasonal award. But 1, 2, 3 games all of a sudden makes you jump into the top 5, top 10. Doué, I've got the only reason why, bro, in terms of numbers, Vinny is twice double the amount of numbers. The only reason I've got Doué in higher than Vinny by 1 position is because at the most important moments, he was there. And Vinny, I can't say the same about Vinny. When the most important moments, he won the El Clásicos, the League, the Copa, the Champions against Arsenal, he wasn't there. But Doué, the most important moment, the game against Arsenal back-to-back, he didn't score, he was very important. In the final, scored 2 goals. This is why I've got Doué higher. But for him to be finishing close to top 10, it's too far. Too far for someone who was on the bench for 5 months initially. 16th, I've got Scott McTominay. He finished 18th. Scott McTominay was the reason why, one of the biggest reasons why Napoli won the league. And listen, he's the only Napoli player here. In terms of Serie A players, I think it's him and Denzel and Lautaro. He deserves to be, I think, 16, 17, 18 is fair, but I feel like 16 is the most fairest. 15th, I've got, earlier when I said there's 5 rankings I look at, which is bad, this is one of them as well. Michael Elise finished 30th. He should be 15th. He should be half. He should be 30th is insane, by the way. And I asked my chat, I was doing a watch-along yesterday for the Ballon d'Or ranking. I asked my chat, who had a better season, Doué or Elise? Doué never had a better season than Elise. Doué just was there in the final and 2 other games. Elise had the most consistent season. Elise finished on 17, 18 last season in his debut season for Bayern Munich, did very well in the league, and the Champions League was there. Yes, they never progressed further. They lost against Inter in the quarterfinals, but that's not down to him. That's not down to him. He had a very good debut season. Very good debut season. The numbers is there. The performance is there. The Ballon d'Or ranking gives you achievements, decisive, and player performance. He was there. He was there. In terms of individual stats, he was there. Bayern won the Bundesliga. He was so important for Bayern last season. For him to finish 30th is absolute crazy to me. He should be minimum 15th. 16th, 17th, you can argue. Minimum for me, 15th. 14th is Juan Neves. He finished 19th. It's a bit low. 14th is very fair. Very fair. Juan Neves last season was incredible for Paris Saint-Germain. And he's continuing this season so far with the form that he's doing and the goals that he's scoring. But Juan Neves at 19th is a bit too low for my liking. 14th is very sensible. And the person next to him, I've got Donnarumma. Donnarumma finished top 10. I think it's too high. Personally speaking, I think it's too high. I think there's other players who's been showcasing more performances. Donnarumma, I'm not taking anything away from it. The run that he's had in the Champions League, the run against Arsenal, against Inter the final, I think it was very good. But I think with Donnarumma, it's certain performances that highlighted it massively. And it's because he won a treble. Like, I'm looking at other goalkeepers in the past who's done more than Donnarumma that never finished this high. But Donnarumma, because he was in part of the treble season, of course he's there. I think his biggest, you can say his most important impact was what? The game against Arsenal? I think that's the one which called him and made him into this Ballon d'Or top 10. But I don't think he was top 10. I've got him above Vitinha above Juan Neves, because I feel like At certain times, he saved them more and was more vital in certain games than Joao Neves. That's how I've gone higher. But top 10, for me, is too far. 12 plays, again, amongst one of the worst decisions, Virgil van Dijk. You've got him 28. This guy should be closer to top 10. This guy was the best centre-back in the world last season. This guy was the second most, you can argue first or second. Some people say first, some people second. He was the second most important Liverpool player last season. A Liverpool team who won the league last season in the Premier League. Dominated any other team. Like Virgil van Dijk, how you can have only one centre-back in there is crazy. Because I think last season there was a lot of standout centre-backs in Gabriel, Pacho, Rudiger as well last season. He was our only centre-back from last season. But my point, Kubasi, Inigo Martinez. Like, I could get going on, but Virgil van Dijk was the only centre-back you had in the top 30. So for you to put him 28th is absolutely crazy to me. This guy should be close to top 10. 12, I think is fair. I don't think he's a top 10 because of the fact that Liverpool only reached the round of 16. If Liverpool finished higher, I would have had them higher. And again, Champions League matters a lot. Hence the reason why we've got 7 or 6 Paris Saint-Germain players, because they did very well in the Champions League. But 28th is disgusting. 28th is bad. 12th, it's fair. Very, very fair. 11th, I've got Kvara. Kvara, the only disagreement I had with the band, like I've got him 12, not a big difference, but the only disagreement I had is Donnarumma's higher than him. I don't think Donnarumma should have been higher than Kvara. I think Kvara should have been higher than Donnarumma. Out of all the Paris Saint-Germain players, you can't have, for me, Donnarumma higher than Kvara. That's why I've got him 11th. Again, not a big difference between 11 and 12, but I've got Donnarumma at least lower than him because I feel like Kvara was more important to Paris Saint-Germain. And the fact that his first 5 months at Napoli, this Donny was part of 2 title-winning teams last season, fam. No one can say that. Now, top 10. And top 10 starts with Mr. Vitinha. Vitinha, you were very good. You were very great. You were very, very, very good last season. I can't take anything away from it. Can't take anything away from it. But a part of me feel like you've been overrated slightly higher. You were not the best midfielder in the world last season. You were not. You weren't the best midfielder in the world last season. In the Ballon d'Or yesterday, a player finished 11th. That should have been your position. That should have been your position compared to the other Donny. Like, you being top 3 for me is too far. It's giving me Jorginho vibes. And again, you were a bad player. You were more important to Paris Saint-Germain. But it's giving me Jorginho vibes because Jorginho was the exact same thing. Jorginho, last season, in his top 3 finish, won the Champions League and won the Euros. And because of accolades and team collectives, he finished top 3 because of achievements he won. Vitinha gives me similar vibes. Again, I'm not comparing them. Please, just understand. I'm not comparing them. I'm just comparing their achievement. And people think that he should be higher. He shouldn't be higher. He wasn't the best midfielder. What I can say, because I've seen some people go too far. Some people are saying he wasn't Paris Saint-Germain best midfielder last season. That's a stretch. Don't go too far. You can't be telling me Joao Neves was better than Vitinha last season or Fabio Ruiz. No. That's not the case. My issue is he is too high. Top 3 is way too high for Vitinha. So you're basically telling me Vitinha was Paris Saint-Germain's second most important player last season. Hell no. Hell no. There is 2 other players that was more important than him. There is 2 other players that was more important than him. Top 3 is too far. I've got you top 10 because I feel like it's fair. It's very fair. But you weren't the best midfielder in the world last season. Stop the cap. Stop the cap, bro. He should be top 10 and top 10 only. 9th place, I've got Harry Kane. Harry Kane finished 13th. It's kind of too low. I think top 10 is respectable, very respectable. I think last season, all the goals that he scored a lot of goals. Won the Bundesliga. The Champions League scored a lot of goals. Scored against Inter, I believe it was. And again, got knocked out in the quarterfinals. Could have finished higher if he went a bit further. But he was part of could he win the Ballon d'Or? Is Harry Kane able to win the Ballon d'Or last season, if you guys remember? So I think top 13 is too far. Top 9 is respect. I've seen some people say, and again, now the biggest example of people confusing this season with last season is Harry Kane. I've seen some people say, Why is Harry Kane not top 5? Look at the season he's having so far. This season is not taken into account, fam. This season is for next year's Ballon d'Or. Like, Harry Kane is the biggest, I think, factor for this. Because people confusing so far the season with last season. Harry Kane started the season mad. Like, he's got double digits already. I think he's got 12, 13 goals already. And we're in September. And so far, it's this season. But last season, come on, Ak. Last season is last season. That's why 9th is very fair. Move on. Kylian Mbappe. For you, I've got you similar to what you finished. 7th, 8th. It's fair. I think if Madrid had won actual trophies in terms of La Liga or Champions League, then I would have had you higher. If you had done a bigger impact against Arsenal, which you didn't, I would have had you higher. Like, you being pocketed or being quiet against when Gabriel wasn't even there, like against Kiwi, fam. Kiwi, that's disappointing. Again, I've got you high because Pichichi winner, Golden Boot winner, you got a 50 last season, which is incredible. The hat-trick against Barcelona, hat-trick against City, incredible. But if you had done more against Arsenal, and if we had qualified, I would have had you higher. If you won the league or the Champions League, I would have had you higher. But 8th is respectable. Then I was confused between 7 and 6 between 2 fullbacks. And I'm going to be honest, it's between the Paris Saint-Germain fullbacks, Hakimi and Nuno Mendes. I was deciding who I would have had higher, who's higher to me. And I decided Nuno Mendes 7th and Hakimi 6th. I feel like Nuno Mendes last year was incredible. Like, he finished 10, by the way. I think he should have been higher. Nuno Mendes last year was incredible. Incredible. Absolutely incredible what he did last season defensively against Salah, against Saka, in both those matchups against Liverpool and Arsenal. And the goals he chipped in, I think he scored both legs against Aston Villa as well. But I think this man right here, last season, the season he had, was the best fullback in the world. Like, last season, he was absolutely incredible. Everyone thinks I'm going forward, and he chipped in a lot of goals. This guy finished on the 20 GAs last season as a right back, which is incredible. But defensively, last season, it's the first time I saw Hakimi as a reliable and lock-time defender. Like, last season, not a lot of left wingers could have gone past him. The pace, including with his awareness and his positioning, he was a much better defender last season. Like, last season was incredible. And in the biggest moment, he chipped in with goals and assists and X, Y, and Z. He was so vital in that system going forward. And I think it was more important than Nuno Mendes. That's the reason why I've got him higher. And listen, they're both a similar position. But I feel like if I had to pick one fullback, I'll pick Hakimi. 5th place, I've got Mo Salah. Mo Salah, listen, brother. I've seen some Liverpool fans say, why didn't he win the league? Why didn't he win the Premier League? You need to understand there is more things than just the Premier League. Premier League is not the only decider here. Like, Premier League is not the only thing. In the Premier League, he did everything in the Premier League. He did everything that he could possibly achieve in the Premier League. And that was incredible. Top assister, top goal scorer, PFA, Premier League champions. Incredible. But when it came to the Champions League, he was quiet. Both leg against Paris Saint-Germain, absolute invincible, absolute ghosted. Ironically enough, the game which they won, they took him off. The first leg against Paris Saint-Germain. The second leg, you weren't there as well. This is what I mean. That's more than just the Premier League. Even the cup competitions, Liverpool didn't win any. So I can't have him higher because of one tournament. The others I've got won their respective leagues as well. I don't want you guys to think, because it was Spanish league, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. League. But the others did way more than Champions League than Mo Salah. Mo Salah being top 5, I think is fine. It's very fair. He finished 4th, it's fine. But for me, 4th should have been him. 4th, like Rafinha finishing 5th, is a bit too, it's a bit low. It's a bit low. I think Rafinha's fairest position. You can't score a hat-trick against Madrid, against Bayern, have so many goals in the Champions League, so many GAs in the Champions League, do so much in the Champions League for you to finish top 5. Like, if anyone had the resume as Rafinha, they would have finished top 3. Because Rafinha's resume last season was actually crazy high. And I think it comes down to Barca fans. Barca fans, you forgot about him from April. From April, you forgot about Rafinha. You pushed the Rafinha train and the Ballon d'Or train from Jan and February and March. But when it came to April, you went to someone else. Deservedly. I'm not saying you should have. Deservedly. But if you had picked one player, you guys basically were in the same boat and the same train as us. Last season, we couldn't decide, is it Jude or is it Vinny? You guys were in the same picture as well. Is it Lamine or is it Rafinha? You guys were in the same boat. For me, Rafinha is fourth. The only reason I got on fourth is because third should have been Pedri. Pedri, for me, was Barcelona's most important player last season. Pedri, for me, should have been higher than Rafinha. Like, you can't have Pedri 11th. That is a disgrace. That is disgusting. Like, you can't tell me Vitinha was better than Pedri last season. You can't tell me Pedri wasn't a top 10 player last season. Like, I already showed my frustrations on my main channel when I reacted to the whole Ballon d'Or, so you can go and check that out. I mentioned way more. This video is already 30 minutes long. I don't want to long it out even more, but Pedri should not have been top 10. Sorry, top 11th. He should have minimum have finished top 3. I don't mind if you have Pedri 4th, Rafinha 3, because Rafinha, of course, the GAs and the hat tricks and the goals he scored. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. For me, Pedri's higher than Rafinha. Just for me. I think the importance of Pedri last season was higher than the importance of Rafinha. But I don't mind if you have Rafinha higher than Pedri. Rafinha finished top 3 with the resume he had. It's fine. It's fair. But top 2 is what was last season, was yesterday. Lamine second and Dembele first. So for me, this is my fairest Ballon d'Or ranking. That's what the Ballon d'Or should have looked like. Couple rankings you can go between 1 or 2, like this, I don't mind, or this, I don't mind. But like the purpose and the principle stays the same. It doesn't change. For me, that's what it should have been. Yesterday, Dembele 1, Lamine 2, Pedri 3, Rafinha 4, Salah 5th, Hakimi 6, then Nuno, then Mbappe, Kane, Vitinha, Kvara, Virgil should have been higher, Donnarumma, João Neves, Ulisse higher, Scott McTominay, Doué, Vinny, Liwa, Fabio Ruiz, Alexis, Victor, Garassi, Cole Palmer, Jude, Haaland, Lautaro, Florian Wirtz, Declan Rice, and Denzel Dumfries. Not this, but my ranking. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree with any of my selections. Put down in the comments what you guys think. Like the video, subscribe to the second channel, and I'll see you soon in another video. Peace.